Right, today, so really straightforward job, just replacing a set of bath taps for a customer. As you can see, they're dripping. So I'm going to talk you through it, go from there. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is going to switch off the water to the taps, and that can be done right here. Flathead screwdriver, pop it in there in the isolation valve, if there is one, obviously. Sometimes people fit them without these. The water is now off. Make sure that's off properly. As you can see, make sure that it is definitely off. Open the tap to make absolutely certain. Right, next thing, you need to undo the nuts on the underside of the bath. Now, it does look like it's a little bit tight under there. So, get your spanner, find the right size, and just undo these. There will be a bit of water that will come out of the pipe and the connections around here. So a bit of tissue, maybe a towel down there, just to catch that bit of water, or a small container should be absolutely fine. The space under here is too tight to get a spanner there, and the same thing on the other side, if you can just about make it out over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to disconnect it from these nuts here. Now, it'll be different. It might be different to what you have, but as long as you disconnect the pipework after this point, it will be absolutely fine. Like I said, you'll get a bit of water, so I've put a bit of tissue down there to catch any water. Right, as you can see, the flexible hoses have now been disconnected and a bit of water came out. The next thing we need to do is to undo these plastic nuts up here. That's going to be a bit tricky, so I'm going to get a small spanner, maybe something like this, as opposed to one of the larger ones, and just try your best. Now, as you can see under there, it's still quite tight to get your hand underneath and undo the nuts. So sometimes it's easier to just do it from the top. If you hold the nut from underneath and spin the top out, it will still undo. The principle is exactly the same, just a different way of going about it. And that's the leg and nut out now. Onto the other one. So, since the tap's out, we can give it a really good clean. So we've got the new tap leg here. Just pull out the nut, or undo the nut, I should say. This is going to go on the underside, along with one of the washers. Like that. And this one go on the underside. This one stays here to create a bit of a seal around the base of the leg, so that we don't get any water going in between the gaps here. This is going to go there, and this one is going to go there. To get this on, we're going to just do it nice and hand tight first, just using your fingers, and then at the end we're going to nip it up with the spanner. The way that I do it one at a time. The first nut, back nut, has been tightened up quite nicely. The second one, as you can see over there, is still a little bit loose. Yeah, and the reason for that is I don't want to over tighten it. I don't want to tighten it too much and then find out that the tap doesn't go on quite right. So we're going to measure that up. And now I know that wherever the leg is, that's where I need to tighten it from underneath. So it's nice and tight from underneath now. What we're going to do is, this can go on properly. So washer in there, and washer in there. And these, the tap body can now go onto the legs. Do it nice and tight with your hand first, and then once it starts to get fairly firm, get your spanner and tighten it up further. Underneath will look like this. We still need to attach the hoses again, which is going to be a little bit tricky, to be fair, but with a bit of patience, it will be done. Best thing to do the furthest one away first, because you don't want to do the one that's closest to you and then it gets in your way when you're doing the other one. So that's what I'm going to do here. The flexible hoses are now on, nice and tight. So it's just a case of reconnecting back here once more. Right, so everything's on nice and tight under here. We just turn the water back on. 1 and 2. We're going to check the leaks properly in a moment with using a mirror to try and get behind and all the way at the back over there. But water, yes, and water, yes. Tap is fine, just a case of attaching the shower. Make sure the washer is inside there. This goes underneath, nice and tight. For this, you can use a tool if you want to. Not normally strictly necessary, I'll be honest. Make sure there's a washer in there, and this just attaches to the new shower head. Screws on. Again, don't need a tool, just hand tight's really fine. Turn it on. Switch to shower mode. Make sure it's not dripping from there and not dripping from there. And that's absolutely all you need to do. Gonna give it a good clean now and tidy up. And that's it, you're done.